Welcome back, guys. Come on, that was great.
It was.
Welcome back, guys. This is Sarah.
And I'm Erika, and we are Living Understaffed, the podcast about not having our hands or hours in your best just this weekend.
We talked about it a little bit from the Christmas episode, but my God, the last few weeks have just absolutely, I mean, Erika has stories, I have stories, but I am understaffed. My ass has been thoroughly kicked, and not in a good way, people. Like, you know, I like to get my ass kicked every now and then, and like, this has not been that. This has been brutal life happening, slapping me in the face, and it's just, it has not been enjoyable. Like, holidays are supposed to be fun and lovely and spend time with your family and your friends, and it's just, ooh, it's been
so much work.
Unreal.
So much work.
Unreal. So tell me about your understaffedness, my dear.
So I moved out of the place I was living with my ex-husband to a new place with my sister and one of my friends. And we're staying in her mom's house, which is great. And like the rent is really cheap. Like ultimately, it is a good situation for me. But her mom left in a hurry and sort of like left all of her stuff. And she has a lot of stuff. So we had to like take it all out, like all the furniture and stuff, before we could bring any of our stuff in. Because it's not a huge house either. So just like, so it was me, my roommate, my sister, a lot of my roommate's friends, some of my friends, my ex-husband, like all of us putting in work. And on top of that, I didn't have a bedroom for a little while because there was a bunch of stuff in the room that I was going to be in. So I slept in my sister's bed, or one night, my roommate slept at her boyfriend's house. So I slept in her bed, but I didn't have my own mattress because my mattress hadn't come yet. And there was a bunch of stuff in my bedroom. And it was just like
Stressy.
It just felt so stressy. And I'm still working full time, and I'm still going to dance. Like, and so is my roommate, and so is my sister. Like, we're all doing the damn thing.
Understaffed.
And understaffed. But like, you know, we are gonna have Christmas dinner. Like, we all picked stuff we're gonna make, and I have a dog. I acquired a dog. Her name is Daisy. She's very cute. Smooth brain. So smooth. But she's very sweet.
Cute.
She's so cute. And she needed a person, and I think I needed a dog because my dog passed away like a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's good for me. It's good for me to have something to take care of. Or I like having something to take care of. And if it's not a dog, it's going to be a man. So let's
move away from that possibility.
Correct. But she's very cute. She's so cute. And I love her so much. Her name is Daisy.
You'll have to take a picture of her sleeping like that, and I'll superimpose it because she is very cute.
She's so cute. Trying to think. It's just like so much. Oh, it's just so much. Yeah. So, yeah, you know, just moving and having a dog and
trying to take care of yourself.
Literally. And where I used to live and where I live now is literally on two opposite ends of town. Like, I could not get any farther and still be in the same town. So not only am I moving, but it's 30-minute trip each way. And of course, one of my friends asked me to watch his dog. And I was like, of course I will, because I do love Jelly. But I'm also checking on somebody else's dog 2 days or twice a day, which again, happy to do it. Legitimately am happy to do it. But I'm like, why do I do this?
You absolutely did it to yourself. And would I have done anything
100%.
differently? No.
And I still don't really regret it. I don't. I get to see Jelly every day.
Yeah,
so
twice a day.
Not a single regret.
Not to mention,
Twice
like, I'm helping someone else, and that's what gives me joy. That fills my cup. So, like, 100%, I would have done the same thing. I get it.
Yeah. So, like, Athena,
you tell her. I totally jumped. Not gonna lie. She is vicious. Little vicious puppy. She's got
So that
bark.
isn't Daisy. That is Athena, who's my roommate's dog.
Oh.
Shush. She's the drama. The drama.
God, her growl is just sexy. Like, she just...
Well, she's like, Athena is so funny because she's like, you like walk in and she'll like bark at you and then you just like pet her and she's like, okay.
That's right. She's like, that's
You're
right.
clearly fine.
Pet me.
Yeah. Some guard dog you are.
Well, I will
she's
say...
good. She's... Oh, yeah. See, now she's just laying on the floor. Now she's an old lady. She's like 10, I think. And she's my roommate's dog. And she's also very sweet and very cute. And I don't have to put her on a leash when I take her outside to go to the bathroom, which is clutch.
I love that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It is one thing of having a backyard with a fence, because I just put the dog out. Like, go do your biz.
When we were moving a lot of stuff, I took Daisy to my ex-husband's house for 2 reasons. Because he was originally going to take her. And he ended up not wanting to. And also, like, because I have dual custody of Rocky, I wanted to make sure that they got along together. And it was just like 3 days of us just like the doors were just open and we were just like moving stuff. And it's just a lot easier to do it when you don't have dogs underfoot.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Especially one without good recall.
Yes. So, and she had a great time. She was just, and he has a fenced yard. So she was just outside. She was having a great time.
Perfect.
Yeah. I was like, this is great. Yeah, she had a really good time. She also definitely took toys right out of Rocky's mouth, and he let her. So,
oh, so
yeah, she would try and like cuddle with him. Yeah, well, she also would try and cuddle with him because that's what she and Athena do. But he didn't like cuddling. He was like, "No, this is my square. Please leave." But they were very cute. They were playing together. And she really liked that.
That's nice. I'm glad.
Yeah.
I mean, because honestly,
very nice.
Things could have been so much worse between her and Rocky. Like, could have been polar opposite of getting along. So, amen for that.
Yes.
Amen.
Yeah. That's one thing that I've said it before, I really like about her. That's just easier for me. That made it an easier decision to keep her, is that she's just so sweet and gentle and not reactive that I don't have to worry about it. And it would be just really easy to find someone to watch her. And I have a lot of people who will watch her and she gets along with other dogs. And like, I don't have to, like, obviously like be smart about it and like introduce them correctly and all of that stuff. But like, I know she'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
That makes it a lot easier and less stressful. How have you been understaffed?
So God, when was the last time we recorded? We recorded
Like,
the last full recording that we did was before Thanksgiving because we
Yeah.
tried to do an episode with Lish and it fucking failed
yes.
for the second time, which is part of my
Correct.
understaffedness. So I went to Iowa to visit my mother. I just can't.
Yeah.
There is no amount of rage to fuel my body to fully explain how much that weekend sucked. I did, however, get to hang out with my nephew that I've only met a few times. And from the last time that I saw him, he has changed quite a bit. He's grown up a little bit. He's gotten a little taller, and he is just a sweetie. And he remembered who I am, and he called me Aunt Sarah, and he just wanted to spend time with me the whole time, which I love being Aunt Sarah. It's my favorite thing in the world. And so I really love that. Yeah. So beyond that, I did also get to spend the night with one of my high school best friends and her sister on the way up because it's like a 10-hour drive for me. So I drove like 3/4 of the way. I spent the night with them and had a really fun afternoon and morning with them. And I got to hang out with their dogs. And I got to spend time with one of my best friends from high school. There was a lot of bad news that got dropped that weekend. Wildly frustrating with my mother and her medical situation and my stepdad. Just and then what's happened since then? I went to Texas and got to spend time with my aunt and uncle, and my uncle is my favorite person in the entire world. And my aunt's health is not good. Also a wildly frustrating, I'm really trying not to cry here. Wildly frustrating weekend just in whole. It was really nice to spend time with them. It was nice to be in the same space. It was nice not to have to work because I worked all of Thanksgiving weekend too. That was kind of one of my understaffed issues. But Texas was great in a sense of like I didn't have to work and I could just be there and be present and be with them. I mean, I did some podcast editing, but that's pretty much it. I did also get to meet one of my other nephews for the first time. He's about 5 months old now, and he is adorable. He got his first taste of his weird aunt coming to town because I'm holding him and I'm feeding him and he's cooing and he's pawing at my face and he's holding onto my thumb and like there's all of those beautiful things that you have with babies and I'm holding on to him and forgive me, I've had a few drinks so I'm like I'm holding on to him and I am bawling. Like I've got him and I'm like this world hasn't ruined you yet. You don't have
Yes.
to, you don't have to experience any of the horrors. Like I was bawling. Like,
yes.
Oh, my sweet, sweet baby nephew. Like he's so cute. So anyway, that happened. And I almost got him asleep and then he was pretty much awake the rest of the night. My sister and my brother-in-law were home and my other nephew was home. And like it was nice to spend time with my little sister. I miss her a lot. And I don't know, it was a really nice weekend, but it was also one of those weekends that you're like, Jesus Christ, like I'm watching my family, some members of my family slowly die. And it's heartbreaking oh my God, don't do it. Heartbreaking is not a strong enough word to describe those emotions. And Yeah. So, going through a little bit of depression, going through a little bit of heavy, and trying to like make sure that I still shower and brush my teeth and like just trying. This past weekend was the first weekend that I actually didn't take my work laptop home. I didn't work on anything for the podcast at all, maybe for like an hour, but that was it. I barely did anything. And I laid in bed and rotted and slept on and off. I got a mani-pedi, and that was pretty much it. Literally it. It was everything I needed. And then the government also announced that we get Christmas Eve off. So tomorrow and the next day, I will be rotting in bed. And I am happy to do it.
I love that for you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Well, the flip side of it is that I'm getting a little burnt out at work, and I don't want to become the bitter employee, like I'm trying to like reflect on how I'm feeling emotionally and like how I'm reacting to certain situations and certain people. And I know that my reactions have been a little more like short and curt the last few weeks. And, contributing factors could be the family visits. It could be stress of the holidays. It could be, there's a lot of different factors, especially in the holiday season, especially when there's not enough vitamin D, both versions, because it's December. And like, like I'm
correct.
Yeah. So like, I'm trying to be more like self-reflective on like how I'm responding to things versus how people are treating me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's never an easy thing, because then there's certain instances where I notice that I'm more reactive, and I'm like, Sarah, calm down. Like I have to tell myself.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if someone else told me to calm down, I'm going to be like, fucking come at me. But I have to tell myself.
Oh, yes. Correct. Like, don't you dare.
You have no, like, I still remember getting into fights with my ex-husband of like, you have no right to tell me to calm down. He does. He did. I'm like, so
Yeah.
anyway,
my ex used to be like, I think you're being a little dramatic.
Okay, I'm going to say the harsh thing. I'm going to say the harsh thing for both of us. There's a reason that we got divorced. That's it. I'm not even going to get into it. I can't. That episode is going to come one day that we're both just going to word vomit. Mm-hmm. Today's not that day. Today, friends and family, today is a happy day. Today is New Year's Day. Welcome to 2025, everyone. I hope that you've all, set your silly goals and done what you need to do. We're all manifesting that this year is wonderful and that this year is 10 times better than 2024, which, for fuck's sake, it's not going to take that much to be better than 2024.
Correct.
So,
correct.
In
also,
honor,
this year, Sarah and I both turn 35, which is super exciting.
Hell yeah. We're going to party it up. For those of you that, if you're new to the show, you'll also know that we are planning a Valentine's Day weekend trip. I'm going out to North Carolina to spend a long weekend with my boo thing. And we are going to get tattoos. We're going to take each other out for dinner. We're going to, we're doing the whole thing. And no, it's not that I'm not a fan of the whole Galentines thing. That's not what this is. This is my boo thing. She is one of my best friends. We are having a Valentine's weekend together, and I'm very excited about it.
Yes, I don't like the whole term of Galentines for the same reason I don't like the term, female hero. Just say it's Valentine's Day. Yes. And let's be inclusive about it and say that you can celebrate Valentine's Day however you want to.
Thank you. That being said, also in 2025, we have booked our first in-person show in Kansas City with KC Bookbeat. And so, guys, for any of our Kansas City listeners, I can't wait to meet you guys. Even if you're not even if you're not like big readers, because it is at an indie book event, even if you're not big readers or if there's particular genres that aren't your scene, I still want you to come to the event and come see us. We're going to be together. We're going to be in person. I think Emma's sister is still planning on coming with. And so I said Emma's sister, but you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But like Emma is probably coming with, and she's gonna help out a little bit. Like, guys, we're so excited. Like the pod is on a really great uphill trajectory, and we're here for it. Even if it's a slow moving trajectory, which I'm okay with, we're still here for it. So 2025 is going to bring amazing things for both of us, but it's also going to bring some really fun things for the pod. And it already has. We already have things on the calendar. So
yeah.
In honor of that, because we've also officially crossed our 1-year anniversary. So in honor of that, today's episode is going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to be a little lighter just because also the holidays, and we're trying to keep things just a little bit not necessarily easier, but like, you know, keep it on the light side and keep things rolling so that we don't also burn ourselves out on our full-time jobs, but then also our hobby. We're trying to be here for the win, you know? So, Erika, I have compiled roughly 10 questions to ask about different things about the podcast and things that you remember. But my very first thing that I want to ask you is like, what has been your favorite thing about living understaffed so far? Like, what's been something you've really been, you know, reeling over?
I think it's two things. One thing is that it gives me the opportunity to like deep dive into things that I find really interesting or really important that I'm not necessarily going to do unless I have like an external motivator. So I've learned a lot of really cool things, or like expanded what I already knew on certain topics that I found really interesting that I don't think I would have necessarily done otherwise. And the other thing, the biggest thing is that it is a creative outlet with one of my best friends. And it's like, we live in different states, and we get to like maintain this really great friendship. And like, I fucking love you, dude.
God. I agree with you. I agree with you on those things. Like I'm very glad that we're in this project together, and it is a creative outlet, and it is a lot of fun. I would say for me, it's more the people that we've interacted with, and not just like, you know, us talking to a random stranger about the pod, but people reaching out to us and being like, I listened to this one episode and it seriously changed my life. Like, I am so grateful that I don't feel alone. And I like, God, I love that. I love that, you know, you and I talking last year when we came up with the concept of the show, which literally was just, we absolutely cannot keep adding more things to our plate. And then we add a huge undertaking to our plate. And granted, between like early December to when we really got consistent in like March, things were rocky as fuck. But the conversation was ongoing, and things were, you know, like we were trying to make it work. And so now that we've been weekly episodes for the last few months and things have just been going fairly smoothly, this is incredible. And the fact that we're having some kind of impact on our listeners is really like, it fills me with joy. It fills me with pride knowing that we're helping other people absolutely understand and know that they're not alone in the struggle, in the realness, in the relatable, whatever topic it is, you know? So I would say that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
On a selfish level, seeing the numbers. Like I know that there's a solid chance that we never make money off of this. Like I know, and that was never the motivation to begin with. Like I get it.
No.
But like when you pull up our TikTok and we're getting views of over 900 on almost every video, and not every video, but there's video back to back that's over 900. And like, I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but like Erika has been understaffed, right? So there's been a couple days in the last couple weeks that I've uploaded because she's technically in charge of TikTok because I just can't. And I can't. It's just a time suck for me. I don't know what it is about the app, but I just can't. And so I know she's been moving and she's been doing all these things. And so if I happen to notice that she didn't upload the daily video, I'll just go in and do it. Like, and not to, I don't know if it's necessarily me tooting my own horn, but like a couple of years ago, I was going through the same thing that Erika's going through now, where it's like moving into a new place and there's all this upheaval of my life and like having to find a new route to drive to work and like, what the actual fuck? So like, I know I've been in those shoes, and so I don't mind picking up that bit of slack, right? Because you're busy as shit and you're understaffed. So like, the really cool thing about, I think it was yesterday or maybe the day before, I don't remember specifically which day, but I uploaded a video to TikTok and I went back into TikTok like maybe 30 minutes later and it already had over 700 views. And I was like, 30 minutes? Like, what? And so that feeling is really cool, knowing that like we're not alone out there just putting this out into the ether. Like,
yeah. We're not just potting into the void.
Yes. Oh my God. So that being said, my first question for you, which technically this is cheating because I've already given you the answer. Which episode, since we first started releasing episodes, has been our most downloaded episode?
The Hear Me Out episode. But in my defense, I guessed it. And I was right.
True, you guessed it. But guys, that was our number 2 episode. That was like May.
That was our second. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's our most downloaded episode. So that's pretty exciting. So what do
I like that episode. I love it. I love hate that episode for
why?
Well, I love it and I hate it for several reasons. I love it and hate it because it was like our first like real episode. So it's like we've gotten so much better since then. But we're still really funny. Like it's still a hilarious episode. And also the amount, whenever I tell somebody about my podcast, they're like, oh, like, what is it? And I'm like, oh, it's a Living Understaffed podcast. You can get it wherever you get podcasts, like and subscribe, blah, 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 blah. And that's what they start with. And almost every time they send me a text or something and they're like, so Goliath, huh? Like,
yep. Hands down.
I did this to myself.
Hands down. That's okay. That is, I understand the love hate. So
I stand by it.
Well, yeah. So then let me ask you, what do you think our second most downloaded episode is? And it's okay to have your Trello pulled up because some of these things are episode questions you might need.
I want to say it's either the What Do You Bring to the Table or the You're Welcome episode.
It is number 5, What Do You Bring to the Table? And
that one is good. That was a great episode too.
I will say that's one of my favorite episodes because
me too.
I'll never forget like the banter that we had back and forth, you know? And that's always a question, especially like and now this is probably a little more relatable for you because now, you know, divorce and all those things and you're kind of in the dating world. So now I bet this question probably comes up a lot. And it has in the dating world that I've been in where it's like, oh, you know, I own my house and I own a car and I have a stable job and I have steady income and I have all these things. And I'm like, cool, but like, are you emotionally intelligent? Like, can you hold a conversation that doesn't evolve around you? Because I have all of those things other than owning a house. I have all of those things and I cook and I have hobbies and I have friends and I'm not a dirtbag. Like,
yeah.
Can we talk about my table already being full? So,
yeah. And the experience for sure is different from being single in my 20s to being single in my 30s.
Correct.
And I know you and I have talked about this a lot, but like, it's not about whether or not I'm going to be in a relationship with you. It's whether or not I'm going to give you access to my body and my feelings. If
whether
I'm
or not
give you my time.
Yes.
I don't get enough out of it to and like again, I'm not actively looking for a relationship right now for a lot of reasons. Well, one major reason. But
obviously.
I'm not going to be celibate either. But like if I'm going to have sex with somebody, it's the whole experience. Like I have to have a good time. And
but
if they're just like a tool,
I wouldn't even say that it's necessary. I mean, it's obviously not just about the sex, but it's the fact that I'm making time for you in my wildly busy schedule. Like that, my time is my most important asset. And the fact that I'm giving up time to spend with someone, I need that to be respected, if that makes sense. Like I don't want my time to be wasted. And granted, you're going to meet people and you're going to get to know people and you're just going to find out that there are some people that like, this will never happen again. This will never happen again.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of the process. But I mean, you could do that with friends and acquaintances. It's the same thing, same concept. So anyway, that's to rehash that whole episode. That was a really great episode. That was one of my favorites. I will say that the third most downloaded episode is number 9, Ambition, Anxiety, and Absurd Name for Private Parts, because that was a great episode. That was
so an amazing episode.
It was so fun.
We need to do that again.
I think so.
Because that was hilarious.
It was so good. So my next question for you is, you know, we're talking about episode stats and all that jazz. Do you think that episodes with guest appearances see a noticeable increase in listens?
No.
So it's 50-50.
I think they're all the same.
It's 50-50.
Oh.
So we did that first. Chris Smith was our first guest, and not a whole lot of downloads on his episode, I think. And I don't know if it's because that was an audio only episode and we didn't do the video we normally do. I'm not quite sure, but that one wasn't a whole lot. But episode 19 that we released a couple of weeks ago with Trisha Otis has been our most downloaded episode with a guest. And so first of all, I love
that episode is great too because she's lovely. She is a
so
delight.
Lovely. Yes. So I'm excited about it just because Trisha is a vibe, and I'm grateful to have met her. And again, I know you guys are probably going to get annoyed of us talking about KC Bookbeat, but Trisha's the one who kind of set us up with the invite and getting us involved with KC Bookbeat. And that event in May, you guys, it's going to be so good. So Mother's Day weekend, I need you guys, especially our KC area people, I need you guys to just be ready. Like at least come out and say hi. We'll take pictures, you know, meet in person. And then we are doing like little guest spots, like little, you know, 90-second or 2-minute little conversations with people just to like do a bonus episode. So thank you, Trisha. Thank you. I've also had a couple people reach out to us on socials to let us know that Trisha's episode is fantastic. And like all of the things that she's experienced being understaffed, there are other people out there who are just overwhelmed with life itself. And again, those messages of people being like, thank you for that, because I just feel like I'm drowning in it. It's been helpful. So thank you again.
I every single time I read one of those, I'm like just so grateful that they took their time to tell me that, because it just means so much. Like,
yeah, and it does. It's wonderful feeling.
The feeling of helping somebody not feel alone is like the best compliment. And like, there's a lot of reasons why we started this podcast, but like, honestly, one of them was like you said earlier, we were like, we can't be the only ones that are going through, like, why is this
there's
so
no
hard?
Today's economy, today's society, there's no way.
Yeah.
But there are days that I self-isolate because I'm like, no one else understands this. Not a single other person. And I will give it up. I'll give it up to my buddy Joe. We had a pizza night at his house before he left for holiday block leave. And we literally, this is how nerdy I am. I brought over yarn to his house that needed to be untangled. And we listened to loud, heavy metal music for like 3 hours while he sat on the couch playing on his phone and I sat on the floor untangling yarn. And we just listened to music and had conversations in between of like, oh yeah, you know, I would send him music or he would send me stuff while he was deployed. And it's like, I just needed the friendship, you know, like this. He literally came into my life at the perfect time. And so we had a pretty deep conversation that both sets of his grandparents are declining. And it helped me realize that, like, obviously I'm not alone in a sense of like, you know, my aunt and uncle, my aunt has Alzheimer's and it's pretty far advanced. And it's fucking heavy, you know, like, and it's hard to see that when it's been about 9 months since I saw her last and like seeing what it's doing to the family and like how emotional it is. And it's like, fuck, like I live 8 hours away and that side of the family all lives within an hour of each other. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, so I will do a little shout out for Joe because he was there emotionally and we kind of talked and he helped me to not feel alone. So I'm glad for that. I'm glad for those friendships. And for any of you that are listening to this and you happen to be going through it too, like I'm telling you, you're not alone. Both of us will tell you over and over that you're not alone because it's a brutal world out there right now and we've got to be here for each other. So yeah, I'll get off my soapbox. Yeah.
It's a lot.
So I need to know how many countries you think that we've either had listeners or viewers in. I need a number.
10.
Higher.
15.
Double it and higher.
70.
Oh. First of all, what do you think double of 15 is? Like, what are we?
Oh. 40.
Oh my God.
Oh,
all right,
God.
Your
I'm
math,
good at math, I swear.
You're mathing,
I'm
not mathing.
I am one of those people where I'm so good at like algebra. If you're like, what's 14 plus 13? I'm like,
that's not algebra. That's addition.
I know. I can't. Addition, subtract, like that shit is hard. Algebra, I can solve for X all day long.
Well, the correct answer is 37. So solid second guess.
Hell yeah.
Okay, so any guesses on what some of those 37 countries might be? I'm not going to make you guess all of them, obviously, but just give me a shout out on any of them.
US, obviously.
Obviously. Canada, obviously.
Yeah. Spain?
Spain is correct.
Germany?
Correct. Which, okay.
Australia?
Can we also Australia? Can we just say that we are cheating a little bit because I work with students from all over the world and so I already know that some of these countries are my actual students that have graduated and gone home. So we do kind of have some luck in that area, but there are a lot of countries on here that are not countries that I've had students in recently. So anyway, continue with your guessing.
India?
India is correct. Yeah. Which is not one of my students. Okay.
Yeah. Japan?
Japan is not on the list.
Rude. Get it together.
Let me give you a couple of countries that are not my students. Okay?
Okay.
First of all, Laos. I'm not even going to lie. I don't know where that is. Russia
It's right
and
next to
China.
Thailand. Or it's right next to Vietnam.
See, you don't know where it is
Vietnam is on the outside.
either. Fuck you.
Fuck off. Also, look at where Thailand is on the map. It's very close to Vietnam.
Okay.
Very much.
Yes, ma'am. Got it. So Denmark and Finland are on here. And then let me see.
Okay.
Austria is one. South Africa, another one. New Zealand. And for the record, any of our New Zealand listeners want to call in and, send me a recording of your voice, I would be fine with it.
Except for my dad, because my dad lives in New Zealand. I hope it's not.
All right.
Oh
That's
God, no!
a retracted statement.
If it is my dad, he would have made sure I knew that he listened to my podcast.
All right. There is also Switzerland, France, and Portugal that are students that I have not had. But beyond that, do you want to guess any more, or do you want me to just give you a short list?
Give me a short list.
Okay. So we have Ireland, Scotland, Philippines, Norway, Indonesia, the United Kingdom, Sweden, the Netherlands, which for the record, Sweden and the Netherlands are also not my students. South Korea, Malaysia, Poland, Czech Republic, Italy, Nepal, Singapore, Taiwan, Belgium, Brazil, Saudi Arabia, Colombia, and then, of course, Trinidad and Tobago, which are my prior students. Isn't that fucking fantastic? Like, you know how cool that feels? Like, how...
That is... Yes!
That is so cool.
That is so cool. Also, I just sent you a picture of the two dogs cuddling. If that doesn't give you a renewed sense of, like, if that doesn't renew your will to live, I don't know what will.
Sweet babies.
They are full listeners. They are full on canoodling on my bedroom floor right now.
For those of you that want to listen or watch the video, I will superimpose the photo into the video. Okay, so are you prepared for your blood pressure to rise? Because it will.
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. I do it to you enough.
So this is a it's a funny question, but there's a reason that I'm asking this, because I'll get to that in a second. How many haters do we officially have?
5.
It is 3. So the one we've talked about, Kale What's-His-Face from YouTube.
Yes.
Now, from YouTube, there is a new What's-His-Face. He goes by Max. And apparently, according to his profile, he is out of Jamaica. First of all, Senior Jamaica. Cough. Second of all, I don't remember which video it is that he commented on, but he left this comment. I'm sorry. I don't want to misgender you as a woman. I support your trans journey with the hormones. And I know it's hard, but just because you're transed into a woman doesn't mean you need to show so much flesh. And a question, at what age did you figure out you don't want to be a man no more?
Again, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. If you can't say anything nice, at least be funny.
Okay. Do we look trans? Because if we do, we look fucking fantastic. You're welcome.
Correct.
You're welcome. And to
also,
the trans community, I'm sorry for this douche who apparently doesn't understand true beauty.
Yes. Also, okay, so this man
Mm-hmm.
is watching our
Max.
video. Thanks for the views, by the way.
Thanks, boo.
Max, thank you for the
Mhm.
views. Type that all out, thinking he's incredibly witty, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. He also spells you with the letter and your with the
Ooh.
U-R. He also does not capitalize his eyes, which I just find to be annoying. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's giving boomer energy super bad. Or
And,
Gen
like,
X, maybe? I feel like that is a very Gen X insult. Like, because that's right up there with, like, those are the same people who are like, that's gay.
Calm down. So this brings us to our third hater, who is my good buddy Adam. Who he's not an actual hater, but he really loves us and he's a huge supporter and he calls himself a hater. I screenshotted that comment from Max from Jamaica to him, and he said, well, shit, you two are the hottest trans that I've ever fucking watched on YouTube. And I'm like, thanks, Adam. What a sweetie. So so technically we only have 2 official haters. But I've said it again. I've said it before. I will say it again. You watched the video, whichever video it was. So we have the view time, like the increase in view time. You also took the time to interact with the video, which also looked good for like stats and interactions and all that jazz. So thank you. Thanks, boo boo. Thank you. This leads me to my next question. What do you think is our main listener demographic age?
I was just going to say, I'm almost positive on YouTube it's men in their 30s.
So it's 31.7% is 35 to 44. And 31.4% is 25 to 34. So 25 to 44 years old is over 60% of our listeners.
Wild.
Yes. Now in
men
that,
or men and women.
So in that percentage, the main gender listeners are 64% male and 36% female.
That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm. And in the last 28 days, it is 79% male and 21% female. So let's talk about how
y'all are about to get so many more PSAs. You're welcome.
No, because now if that's our main demographic, then like I have things to say. Like there's a legitimate reason why I regularly say that men suck, because they fucking do. And again, I'm not saying that it's all men. I don't agree with that. And I'm not saying that there's not crazy women out there, because there absolutely fucking are.
Of course there are.
But percentage-wise, for the men that I have dealt with in my life, men suck.
Yes. Yeah, I was having this conversation with someone recently, and he's like, well, I would never do that, and nobody that I know would do that. And I'm like, great, love that for you. Except every other man I've ever met would. So why should I?
Correct. This brings me to my last question. And, today's episode, light and airy. We're just keeping it kind of short today because, understaffed and it's the holidays. I've read some stats online, and I don't know how accurate they are, but this says if your episodes get more than 124 downloads in 30 days, you are in the top 50% of podcasts. If your episodes get more than 1,000 downloads in 30 days, you're in the top 20%. If your episodes get more than 2,900 downloads, you're in the top 10%. And if your episodes get more than 6,700 downloads, you're in the top 3%. So which category do you think that we are in?
I think we're in the top 20%.
So we are close to the top 20.
Oh.
We're technically only in the top 50%, which again, I don't give.
Again, such a big deal. Like
It's so
a
exciting.
year ago, I did not think that I thought we would still be pretty much the same that we were. Like, yes, it's slow. It's been a whole year. We're not like making money or anything, but like a lot of people listen to us and think we're great.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
That's crazy.
It's so wonderful. It's really like, it's kind of brought things into perspective too, because it's helpful to have a friend who has a similar hobby, right? And so like, even though this is a newer hobby for you, I'm grateful that you jumped in head first and you were like, let me order a mic, let me order a standing desk, let me get on top of this. Like you were in it to win it, and I appreciate that. And then for me, like, you know, I'm lucky in a sense of like having different like virtual assistant part-time gigs over the years that I like picked up some skills from the last podcast that I ran, and like things have really like come together well. And so I know I said final question like 3 times already, but this is actually my last question for you. What would be a goal for you, podcast or personally, for 2025? Give me a couple.
I want to figure out what I want to do as my own person. Like I am very independent. I was very independent even when I was married, especially the last couple of years. So not like who am I, but like what do I want if I don't have to consider anybody else in my decision? Like, you know, and what's feasible for that. Like, I want to buy a house one day. How am I going to make that happen? Short term is like my sister lives here, and like, how are we going to make this house like ours? And
right.
How am I going to sort of navigate this and because a lot of my friendships have sort of not like, I have a lot of really good friends here. So no one has sort of like, no one is no longer my friend. They're all like, Erika, I haven't seen you in months. I love you. Where are you?
Are you okay?
Yeah, it's like, no. But I have a lot of really good friends that constantly like check up on me and make sure that I'm okay. And I want to get back to seeing them on a regular basis and like really cause like, yes, you shouldn't hang out with people like unless you want to. Like, don't do social stuff unless you want to. But at the same time, like, it is important to maintain your friendships because they are people you care about and you have to put in effort. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to hang out like, oh, I don't want to see them or whatever. But sometimes it does take me like, okay, this day from this time to this time, I'm going to be hanging out with this person. I'm going to prioritize them. I'm not going to be working. I'm not going to be doing podcast stuff. I'm not going to be cleaning the house. I'm not going to be doing whatever else. I'm going to be doing this thing with this person. And that is something that I want to get better at. It's like, just with everything going on, that sort of went on the back burner. And rightfully so. Like, I don't think anyone's blaming me for that. Anyone would in my situation,
No.
but
and it would be, I think that it would be different if you didn't have hobbies, if you weren't dancing 3 nights a week, if you didn't have competitions, if you didn't have a podcast, if you know, like, it would be different if they knew that you were just sitting at home every day and shutting yourself in and doing nothing. Obviously.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes. And again, I have great friends. They're like, just checking in on you. Just like, I miss you, but like, let me know.
Yeah,
so
I hadn't heard from Erika in a couple of days because it's the holidays. We're both busy. I sent her a text in all caps and said checking in. And she goes, She responds in like 2 minutes. She's like, I love you. I'm fine. Like, I'm not fine, but I love you. Thank you for checking in. And I'm like, that's not a fucking answer, but thank you for the response. Like,
Yes.
oh.
So,
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my 2 goals for 2025. What are your goals?
I am getting a new job. That's my 2025, government or civilian. I'm going to figure that shit out.
We're manifesting.
Correct. I've had some really great interviews in the last few months, and things haven't necessarily worked out, but again, I'm very agreeable to the sense of like, it's going to happen when it happens, and I will figure it out when it does, And in the meantime, I have a really great job and I really love my job. So it's not like I'm running away from, a terrible job or a terrible supervisor or anything like that. It's time for me to grow. So 2025 is my year for that growth. And then I want to travel. I think this year I'm going to go to Trinidad and Tobago. I think I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull the trigger and I'm going to go for a week and just get drunk on the beach and enjoy and just like not work. And, we might record while I'm there, which would be fantastic. But like, I want a vacay where I'm not doing fucking shit. Like, I want to experience Trinidad and Tobago, and I want to do the touristy things, but I also just like, I would be fine with getting like an Airbnb in the mountains for a week and doing nothing. Like maybe hiking, but that's it. I just need a minute. So, and podcast wise, I think we could probably find a sponsor by the end of the year.
Yeah. I didn't think about that. That is a great goal. Yes.
I don't think that we'll quite work up to mattresses. I don't think we're on that level yet.
That's top tier. That's top tier sponsors.
Yes. But I think it's in the cards for us to at least find one. I think that would be that isn't me and my side hustles.
Yes. Well, I was thinking this year, because I want to travel more too. But it gets fucking hot here in the summer, and it gets really hot there in the summer too. But maybe we can spend some time in the mountains where it's not so hot.
Yes. I would love that. Yeah, amazing. We should. Ooh, I would love that too. Yeah. All right. Well, we can make that. We'll make that a goal, and we'll like. Yeah. I know. Again, for listeners, I'm gonna plug KC Bookbeat until my dying fucking breath. But we will be in person for the first time doing this. Well, no, it'll be the second time in person, recording episodes. But we are actually gonna record in a private studio at the Co-op for the location of KC Bookbeat. And my God, the plans that I have. Like, I am so like, oh my God. It's happening. Like we're doing really, really well. And it's not like a brag, guys. Like this is literally such an incredible creative outlet for both of us that it's not just like, oh my God, we're going to record in a studio and we're just going to kind of like manifest that shit. I want to manifest that because eventually we will have a studio that we record out of, and not because we're going to make it, not because of, we're going to make a whole shitload of money off of this. It's not the point of the show. The point of the show is for us to enjoy and really just kind of be vulnerable and put ourselves out there and let other people know that they're not alone. But B, on a selfish level, this is a really fun hobby. And I love doing it. So even if we never make any money off of this whatsoever, and again, would it be nice? Yeah. But if we don't, that's also fine. So, man, we're going to be in a studio doing like official recording. Like, I'm so excited. We're going to tape it. It's going to be great. Like, it's going to be so good. I know.
I know. And it's like, and not only that, like, obviously we're plugging Casey Bookbeat for a lot of reasons.
Absolutely.
Trisha's amazing.
Also true.
We're going to be there, obviously, but it's also such a cool concept. Like, it's so like Sarah and I love reading, and finally indie authors are like, there's more space for them than there have been previously. And just like getting those authors out there and being able, because it's like, until very recently, unless it was like incredibly mainstream, you were not getting it at Barnes and Noble. You just weren't. And if you wanted something sort of outside the norm, especially before like Kindle Unlimited, there was nowhere to find it. Like there was
it was impossible.
Like
impossible.
Yeah, you would have to like know the author essentially.
Yep.
And now, you know, like Meg Becker is a great example. Like her books are legitimately great.
Yes.
Like they are very good books. And I would have never known about them if it wasn't for Casey Bookbeat and Sarah and knowing her and being exposed to all that. So Casey Bookbeat is genuinely a very cool thing, and like supporting them and supporting that whole concept is so important, because hopefully if it gets big enough, they'll start doing it in other places.
Yes. And it's a nonprofit. Who doesn't want to support something like that? Like,
yes.
So we're going to wrap this episode, guys, because we could literally gush about how much we love this as a hobby and how much we love doing this shit. So, Erika, since it is officially January 1st, how about announcing this month's book for book club?
So this is a book I've had on my shelf actually for a while, and it's been recommended to me by a few people, and I just haven't read it yet. So we're all going to read it together. It's called What Lies Beyond the Veil by Harper L. Woods.
It's love good cover art.
The cover is very cool. It's essentially like there's a wall, well, it's the veil between the human world and the fairy world, and it's been really strong for a long time, and now it's starting to weaken. And it's the classic, like, people, like, some people are going into the fairy world and some of the fairies are going into the human world, and sort of like what's the havoc that is being wreaked. And there's sort of like she's captured and they fall in love, and it's, anyway, delicious. It's going to be great.
Perfect. And last month we wrapped up with my computer. Hello. We wrapped up Sprinkles and Sea Serpents by Daniel Garrett, and I am not gonna lie, I totally loved it. And I think it's a 6-book series, and I listened to all 5 because the 6th one wasn't available to listen to, and I was like, when does it come out? I really loved it. So I'm excited for this. This is nice. I think possibly either I've heard it on like social media or whatever, but it sounds familiar to me. So I'm excited about this one. Yeah.
It was really big on Book Talk. A few years ago.
Okay.
And I don't remember why I bought it. One of my friends my friend Allison, I think, recommended it to me. She said it was really good. So, and I read the back, and I'm like, this is a book that I would love.
Yes.
I just haven't read it. So anyway, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be a great book.
Perfect.
And I can't wait to discuss it with you guys. And yes, correct. Okay. Thank you for listening. We love you. Thank you for coming on this wild ride for a whole year. If you've been one of the people who've been listening to us since the very first episode, send us a message. I can't even tell you how happy that would make us. Or even not. Just Everyone, send us a message on whatever platform saying how long you've been listening. It will make our hearts so incredibly happy. Because, like I always say at the end of every episode, without you, we would be potting to the void. So, thank you so much. Happy New Year. I hope 2025 is collectively our year.